Hey everybody, it's Scooby here. So today I'm going to be teaching you how to make 3 different types of hand print cards. So before I start, I'm going to show you each of the examples that I've made. So the first one we're going to be making is a Diplodocus dinosaur. This guy's an omnivore. So we're going to open it up, and on the inside it says, "Hope you have a roarsome day." So that's the first one. Put that to the side. The second one we're going to be making is this flamingo. We're going to open it up. On the inside, it says, "Be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons." So that's our flamingo. And finally, we are going to be making this cute little giraffe. And on the inside, it says, "I look up to you even though you're shorter than me." So that's our giraffe. Okay, so like I said, we're going to start off by making our Diplodocus dinosaur. So this is our guy here. For this activity, you're going to need, I would suggest using some flyers to put down because we are going to be using glue. We will be using pom-poms, some stuff that can get a little bit messy. So we just want to make sure that we can contain our craft area. You also want to make sure that you have a big enough space to be able to actually do your craft. Because there are a lot of different elements to this, we want to make sure that we have all the space that we need. So I said we will need flyers, so I've got my flyers spread out in front of me. For our dinosaur, we're going to need 2 pieces of blue construction paper. Now I'm using a scrap piece that was from my example. I'm going to be able to use this to make the head and the neck of the dinosaur, so I don't need to be throwing this away. You're also going to need scissors. So please, 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 if you are using your scissors, have adult supervision. Because it can get a little bit tricky. We are cutting out our handprint. We want to make sure that it's cut out properly. We don't want to accidentally snip the fold because we want it to actually be a card. So please, adult supervision with scissors. We will also need some glue. So I'm using some liquid glue here. This is what I had on hand. If you would prefer to use a glue stick, you can totally do that. That being said, with our liquid glue, I'm going to be using a small little paintbrush so that I'm able to get every little piece covered with the glue that I need. So we'll put that to the side. We will also need 2 googly eyes for this. I'm going to be using some pom-poms. I will also show you how you can decorate it using markers if you prefer. If you don't want to use pom-poms or you don't feel like getting them, that's totally okay. I also just have some paper towel just in case I make any sort of mess because I'm using liquid glue. It can get a little bit messy. You will also need a pencil, an eraser because we are tracing and we are drawing. You will also need a black marker, and I'm just using 2 different purples. This is the lighter purple up here and a little bit of a darker purple. And I think that covers it. Am I missing anything? No. Okay, so now I'm going to lower down the camera so that I can start showing you how to make your Diplodocus dinosaur handprint card. Okay, so we are going to start off with big piece of paper here. Let's just get everything all organized here. Okay, so we're going to fold our first piece hamburger style. So I'm going to turn it facing me, and we're going to fold up. I'm going to crease that fold like that. Now this part can get a little bit tricky, so I would suggest having either a parent, a sibling, cousin, somebody that's hanging around the house to help you trace your hand, unless you are left-handed, because we are going to be tracing our right hand. And since I'm not left-handed, it was a little bit tricky. So I had to sort of go back in and readjust how I drew it because it wasn't perfect. It was a little bit shaky, which is okay. So I'm just going to show you how I did that. So we're going to line it up with the crease. Okay. Like that. And I'm going to go ahead and start tracing. Now, you take your time with this. There is absolutely no rush. You want to make sure that you're getting that handprint shape that we want in order to make the body of our dinosaur. Okay. So now that I've got it, you probably can't really see it. That's okay. I'm going to go ahead and complete the handprint. So I'm just going to go around the palm and connect it to where that fold is. Where's that eraser? There it is. So if you are doing this with your left hand, you can go back and sort of redraw the lines to make everything a little bit more straighter and neater so that it's easier to cut out. Okay, I'm just going to go over it again a little bit darker, and I'm going to hold it up to the camera, and hopefully you can see. I'm hoping you can see that better. A little bit, kind of. You can see the fingers. So now that I have the shape that I want and everything is looking in order, I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors. So this is where you will need parental supervision if you feel like you need some help cutting, because it is a little bit difficult to cut out a handprint. It gets a little bit finicky. So we're going to take these and we're going to start on the folded edge. And we're just going to slowly begin cutting our handprint out. So once again, taking your time. This is not a rush. It could start to get a little bit tricky once you've fully cut out your finger. So I'll show you what I mean. So cutting out the pinky, so far so good, right? And then we've got that turn, which can be a little bit tricky. So just taking our time. This is the part that's going to get tricky. In between here is what's going to be the most difficult part to cut out, I think, because you've got to make that really tight loop. And you don't want to accidentally cut another finger off while you're doing this. So I got that loop, going up to the next one. Slowly slowly going around the top of the finger, all the way down. Making that little turn there, cutting back up. I'm going to cut all the way up so I can get rid of this flap. Makes it a little bit easier to cut now. So I'm going to stick that scrap paper to the side. Around the top of the finger. And down we go. And in that little tricky spot, we're going to turn our scissors and go back up. And all the way around. And down we go. And now we're going to cut around the thumb. Another tricky loop. Okay. All right, so that is our handprint. That's what we're looking like. All right, you can see it's like a card because we folded it in half, we traced our hand, and then we cut it out, excluding the fold because we want to make sure that it can be a card. All right, so next what we're going to do is I'm going to take this eraser and I'm just going to go ahead and erase any little marks that I see. Okay, so now we're going to flip our hand over like this and place it down in front of us. We can move to the side for now. Next, I'm going to take that scrap piece of paper that I used for my example, and we are going to make the head and the neck of our Diplodocus dinosaur. So, going to start by making sort of an oval shape, which is just a stretched out circle. So we've got our circle there, or an oval there. We're not going to extend it out so that it makes a perfect oval. We're going to leave a little bit of a space so that we can then follow all the way down, curving it, looping back around, and coming back up like so. Then we're just going to erase whatever we don't like. All right, so it sort of looks like a candy cane, kinda. See that? Kind of like a candy cane. So now that we've got that, we're going to go ahead and take our scissors with adult supervision, and we're going to cut this out. Then you're going to have something that looks like this, all right? So I'm going to put my scrap paper to the side. I'm going to grab my eraser. And I'm just going to erase any lines. All right. So that looks good. Put our scissors to the side, eraser to the side. And then we're going to take our handprint, sticking it down like so. We're going to take our head and neck of our Diplodocus dinosaur, and we're going to glue it to the back. So we're going to glue it to this side, okay? Just like that. So, put this down. I'm going to go ahead and grab my glue. Okay, stick that to the side. Then we're just going to paint on our glue. I'm just going to do this little section right here, okay? Because we still want to make sure that our Diplodocus has a very long neck. So slowly, carefully, not making a mess, apply your glue. You want to make sure that there's enough on there so that it will stick, but you don't want there to be too much because you don't want the paper to start to crinkle. Okay, so that's how much I ended up putting on. We're going to now glue it to the back. So on this part right here that I'm holding. So we're going to set this down like that. We're going to kind of put it on a little bit of an angle. Then we're going to, if it's a little bit easier, I'm going to open it like this to show you. And then we're just going to line it up with the body. Like so. Give it a nice little pat down, make sure everything's sticking. And then I'm just gonna leave it to dry for a couple of seconds. While that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and grab my googly eyes. So these are the googly eyes I'm gonna be using. These right here. Can carefully pull our card down. Using our paintbrush, take our googly eyes, flip them on over, grab our glue. We're going to add a little bit to our paintbrush. And on the backs of these googly eyes, we're going to start applying our glue. One, I'm going to stick closer to the top of the dinosaur's head. So like that. Stick it down. We're going to grab our other one. Since I've already got enough glue on here, I don't need to grab any more. And then we're just going to glue it down right next to that other eye. Like so. Give it a little push. That's what we've got. Our cute little dinosaur so far. Okay, I'm going to stick it back down. Next, we're going to add our pom-poms and some of our spots that we're going to fill in with markers. So, I think it'll be easier to draw on some spots first. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to start with my darker purple. You can use whatever color you want for markers, for construction paper, really. I'm just going with blue and purple just because they go together. So I'm going to take my marker and draw some spots. We're going to draw some little ovals that are going to just connect to the top. So I'm just drawing little ovals like that. And then can put our dark purple away. We're going to grab our lighter purple and we're going to make some small circles just below, in between the ovals that we've just made, okay? So I'm going to draw one right there, there, and there. So that is what we've got. If you prefer to just do all markers for the spots on your Diplodocus, that is totally okay. I just wanted to show you how that could look. Now I'm going to add my pom-poms. gonna add 6 different colored pom-poms to make this guy stand out a little bit. So we're gonna take our paintbrush, add a little bit of glue. We're gonna take our first pom-pom, we'll grab a green one. On the back side, get a nice, good coat. I honestly might just put my glue right on the pom-pom and then start to spread it around. And a little bit more. I want to make sure it's gonna stick okay. Okay, and we're just gonna put right there. Okay, so now that I'm looking at my dinosaur, I don't really like how the thumb is looking. It's pretty cut off, so I'm gonna go ahead and round that. Okay, so I rounded that off. That looks a lot better to me. So this is what we have so far. Looking pretty good. We just need to add the mouth and our greeting on the inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my black marker and we're just gonna draw a little smiley face. So it's gonna be a curved line in the middle. And then at the end, we're gonna draw a line, and on the other side, we're gonna draw a line. So it's going to look something like that, our happy little Diplodocus dinosaur. So now that your card is finished, on the inside, we're just going to add our little message. You can add whatever kind of message you would like. If you wanted it to be a greeting card or a birthday card, totally is up to you. Sorry, our pom-poms are falling away. I would suggest giving it some time to dry before putting your message on the inside, or it probably would have been a good idea to write the message before adding the details. So that's what I'm going to do for the next 2 cards. So carefully opening this up, and on the inside, we're gonna write, hope you have a roarsome day. From Scooby. All right, so now, this is what he's looking like. There he is. Awesome. And then on the inside, got our cute little message. Hope you have a roarsome day from Scooby. Now that guy is done, we're gonna stick him to the side. Okay, so for our second handprint card, we're going to be making this flamingo that has a message inside, be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons. So the items that you're going to need for this are, you're going to need 2 pieces of pink construction paper. So I've got a full one that I'm going to use to cut out my handprint, but I'm using some scrap paper that I used to make the neck, head, and the feet for our flamingo. So we're going to stick that to the side. Also going to be using a piece of yellow paper. Now this is scrap paper. We don't need a lot of yellow, so that's why I'm just going to be using this. This is from the example that I made before. You're also obviously going to need your scissors still, because we're going to be cutting out our handprint card as well as the head, neck, and feet for our flamingo. You will need pencil, eraser, obviously because we are tracing and drawing. You will need feathers. So I went ahead and went through this entire bag and picked out all of the pink feathers that I wanted to use. You don't have to use feathers if you don't want to. They can get a little bit messy, but if you're up for it, excuse me, and you want to use them, you can use feathers. You're also going to need your glue and your paintbrush or your glue stick, whatever you're using, as well as a black marker, which we're going to use for the eye, and a red marker, which we are going to use for the cheek of our flamingo. All right, so now I'm going to lower the camera so we can see what I'm doing. I'm going to set these scrap pieces to the side that we'll use later. And with our page facing us like this, we're going to go ahead and fold upwards, making it nice and even. Once we've got it even, I'm going to fold it in half. And then we're going to go ahead and trace our hand. Okay, now I'm just gonna go through because as you can see, it's a little bit messy. So I'm just gonna go through and make sure all of the lines that I have traced are straight. Okay, and then we're just gonna erase anything that we don't like. Then, with adult supervision, we're gonna take our scissors and we're going to cut this out. We're going to go ahead using our eraser. We're just going to erase anything we don't like. So this card's going to be folded differently. It's going to be opening like this. So it's going to be opening up like that. Okay, so now that our handprint is all cut out, looking good, we're just going to set it up here to the side. Then we're going to go ahead and grab our pink scrap paper and pencil, and we're kind of going to make the same sort of shape that we did for our dinosaur, where we're going to make sort of an oval shape and attach it around and make it into the long sort of neck, except we're going to make it more of an S shape. Okay, so I'm going to make that oval shape. Gotta make sure that it's thick enough too, because we don't want the neck of our flamingo to be thicker than the body or thinner than the body, because it could look a little bit weird. Just gonna make it thicker and a little bit longer as well. Okay, so you're gonna have something that is going to be looking like that, okay? Next, over here, I'm going to draw them. I'm going to draw a bent leg and a straight leg because flamingos like to stand on one leg. So I'm just going to freehand this. I'll put it over here. Okay, so the bent leg. Down, down. And then we're going to sort of make a V shape. Okay, so that's what I mean by kind of like a V shape. Okay, so that's one of its legs. I might need to make it a little bit longer, just so that the proportions are right. Okay, and then right next to it, we are going to draw just a straight leg. Again, I am just freehanding this. A little bit longer. Okay, so those are gonna be our legs. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut them out. So now we're just going to put all of our scrap paper to the side. We don't need it anymore. And then I'm just going to take my eraser. So hang on. So this is what the first one's looking like. And then here are our legs. Kind of like that, okay? So taking our eraser. Awesome. The last thing we need to cut out for our flamingo is the little beak. So we're going to take that yellow piece of scrap paper that we have, and we are going to sort of make like a petal shape. Okay, it's kind of like a waved line. Let me make this a little bit better. No, just over here. Okay. This is what you're wanting. That's how it's going to look, because that's going to be the beak, okay? So we're going to go ahead and cut that out. And that is going to be our beak. Okay, put that aside. Put our scraps to the side. Then we can grab our handprint here, and we're going to lay it down so that our card is opening up to us like this. Okay, we're going to take our head and neck of our flamingo, and we are going to do the exact same thing we did with the dinosaur, and we're going to glue it to the back side. Set that down. We're going to place the card on top, and we're going to figure out how we want to stick it. I think like that is going to be good. So we want to press down, make sure it's nice and secure. All right. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take our little beak, grab some glue, put a little teeny bit on here. I'm going to grab our beak, and carefully put some glue on the back side. And then we are going to glue it at the edge, like so. So that's what it's gonna look like, just like that. Okay, put that down. Next, what we're gonna do is we're going to add our legs. So we will add the straightened leg first. We don't need too much glue. Again, it's gonna be on the back side like this, just like our head and our neck. We're going to grab a little bit of glue. And then figure out where you would like it to be. I would like mine to be right there. So I'm gonna stick it on down, enough pressure. And then we're going to flip our leg like this. Step down. And again, I have enough glue on here, so I'm just gonna add the rest of my glue. And then put it right next to that straight leg we already have. So like that. And then you've got the body. So that's looking like. You can set that down. So before I add the feathers, I'm going to write my message on the inside. My black marker. Which is be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons. Scooby. All right, so we've got our message on the inside. Maybe give it a few seconds for the ink to dry. Okay, we're gonna close that. Next, we're going to add our eye, which is just going to be a U shape. Okay. So it's just going to be a small little U. Just like that. Okay. Next to that, probably like right here, we're going to draw a small little circle, and it's going to be a little cheek. It's going to be like our flamingo's blushing, okay? Draw a little circle. All right, there's our blushing flamingo. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add our feathers. Now, if you wanted to leave it like this, you totally could, but I'm just gonna add feathers just to give it some texture. So grab our feathers, put our pink feathers here, and our glue. We can begin adding them on. Some nice even coat. Okay, and we're going to grab a feather. Which one are you liking for this one? Ooh, I like this one. It's nice and wispy. A little bit more glue just to make sure it's going to stick on there. Okay, so we're going to take our feather. Just going to glue it down. And I'm going to continue that process until the entire thing is covered. so now that I've got everything finished, this is what he is looking like. You can't really see his legs. There we go, but that's what it looks like, which I think looks pretty awesome. And then on the inside again, just an awesome little message. And that is our flamingo. So the final card we're going to be making is our cute little giraffe. Okay, on the inside it says, I look up to you even though you're shorter than me. Okay, so I'm going to show you the resources you need for this card. You're going to need 2 pieces of yellow construction paper. You're going to need a piece of brown construction paper. As you can see, you don't use very much of it. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to be adding some gold to my giraffe to add the spots that are on its fur. You're also going to need a black marker, a brown marker, pencil, eraser for tracing and drawing, glue brush, liquid glue, or if you have a glue stick, you can use that. Scissors, because we're going to be cutting everything out. And I think that's it. Okay, so to start, you're going to grab a piece of yellow paper. Okay, I go to the side. A piece of yellow paper facing us. We're going to fold up, making sure it's even, making a nice crease, pressing down. Okay, then we're going to line up our hand with our thumb facing the fold. And then we're just going to trace. Okay, and then we're going to go through and fix any of our weird lines. And then we're going to extend the palm all the way to the fold. Okay, this is what it is looking like. Cool. Now we're going to go ahead and cut it out. So, put our scraps to the side like we've been doing. And then we are going to erase Alrighty. Okay, so now we are going to make the head and neck of our giraffe. So I'm just going to use a scrap piece of paper that I used for my example to make the head and the neck of the giraffe. So it's going to be the exact same shape that we've been drawing. We're going to start with an oval head, and then instead of curving the line, we're going to just draw it straight down because giraffes have long, tall necks. So we want to make sure that we are creating that for our card. So let's start by creating an oval. more of an oval. There we go. And then we're just going to extend down. All right, so that's what it's gonna look like. That's a tall neck for a giraffe. I might need to make it a little bit longer just so that it is going to look like a giraffe. Okay, extended it down like so. Okay, and then we're going to add in little ears at the top. So I added in my ears. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and cut this out. Okay, so there is the neck of our giraffe. Put all of our scrap paper to the side. And then we are just going to go ahead, take our eraser, and erase any lines that we don't want to see. Okay. So once you've got it looking all good, oh no, my ear isn't very round. There, okay. Next, what we're gonna do is we are going to glue it on the back side of our handprint card. Okay, so taking our glue brush to put on a little bit of glue and then evenly coat the bottom of the neck. Probably about that much. You're going to set it down, and we're going to place our card over top the back side. So this side is the part that's getting glued. That looks good like that. I'm going to stamp it on down. Looking good. Put that to the side, and then we are going to start adding in our spots as well as the facial features. So I'm going to grab my brown, and we're going to start off by making the hooves of our giraffe. So we're just going to sort of make a half circle like that, and then we're just going to color the bottoms in to make the feet of our giraffe. So I'm going to start doing that. Start with the first one, so making a half circle. So just like that. Sort of like we're drawing in fingernails. You're going to color them in. And then continue this for 4 of them. Because the thumb is going to be our tail. And that's what they're going to look like. All right, we can set it down. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do the face of our giraffe. So we're going to take the black. It's going to sound silly, but giraffes almost have like these little antenna type things. So I'm going to put them up here. I don't know exactly what they're called, but we're going to add those in. They're kind of going to look like lollipops. So we're going to draw them just before the ear. So there's one. Okay. And then the second one is just going to go before the second ear. Like that. Okay. Next, we're going to draw the eyes. Just 2 little dots. Like that. Finally, for the face, we're going to add in the mouth. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did for the hooves, and we're just going to make a little semicircle like right here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And color it in. And then we're going to add some nostrils using our black. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to start adding in our spots on our giraffe. So none of the spots are a perfect circle. They're all different in shape. They kind of look like the shape of a kidney. So I'm going to start adding those in. I'll start with the neck so you can sort of see what I'm doing. So kind of just like a little kidney bean, like that. We're just gonna draw some of those. So there's our neck. I'm leaving space so that we can add those gold flakes in afterwards, okay? So now we're gonna do the body. I'm going to make some half circles around the top, and then I'm gonna add some more of these kidney shapes all throughout. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, so that is looking good to me. I've got that so far. Okay, so before I forget, I'm going to write my message on the inside, especially before we glue anything on. I look up to you, even though you are shorter than me. From Scooby. Alright, so that's what the inside's gonna look like. Pretty cool. And now we are going to grab that piece of gold paper. Okay, and then on the back side, that's where I'm going to draw those kidney shapes to make the spots for the giraffe. It's going to just add a little bit of texture. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that. Just freehanding it. Okay, so I've got what I would like to use. That is how they're looking, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut them out. I think I've got all the ones I would like to use. I'm just gonna figure out where we want to put them, and then I'm going to grab my glue and start sticking it down. Okay, so that's what we've got. The last thing I'm going to do is add the fur to the end of our giraffe's tail, as well as to its neck and to the very, very top of its head. So we're just going to take, I'm just going to be using that piece of scrap paper that I used to make my example, and I'm just going to cut out a little square. And what you're gonna do is just start cutting off really thin pieces like that until it's all cut up. And you're gonna continue that until it's all done. So I'm gonna put that to the side because I already have some that are ready to go. Okay. So we're gonna take one of these and we're just going to cut it in two. So we're just gonna cut it in half for our tail. We're going to cut 1, 2, and 3. So we'll use 6 of those half strips for the tail. I'm going to take our glue brush, grab our glue, and then at the end, we're just going to add some glue, okay? I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. A nice thin layer, but we want to make sure that it's thick enough so that everything's going to stick to it. So I've added my glue, and I'm going to start by just adding 1. And you're just going to continue that until all 6 pieces have covered up that entire area, okay? Okay, so there's your giraffe's tail. All right, so we're going to take our strips now and we're going to cut them into 3s. We're going to need just one small piece just for the hair that's on top of our giraffe's head. So 1, 2, okay. All right, we're gonna grab our glue. I'm gonna grab. Okay, so I'm just going to put them just in between here. Oh, it's looking like that. The last thing we're going to do is I'm going to put a thin layer of glue along the neck here, and we're going to add some fur, okay? So I'm going to put this facing me so it's a little bit easier. A little bit of glue. Don't want to put too much glue. Just enough to make it stick. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab a couple of them and cut them up. Okay. So I've added my glue just along there, and I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding the fur. Okay, and once you're done putting on the fur, this is what it's going to be looking like. So you've got your little giraffe card with on the inside a little message that says, "I look up to you even though you're shorter than me." All right, and that's it. That was my third and final hand card that I had to show you guys. So I just wanted to thank you so much for watching. We would love to see your own cards, so please feel free to tag us on Instagram, Facebook at Greenway-Chaplin so we can see all of the awesome art that you've done. Thanks, guys.